This program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
Indeed, here are the boys. Roy Fletcher, how are you, my friend?
Kevin, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Life treating you well?
Well, I mean, I've had a couple of bad things happen over the last couple of weeks, that kind of sad. A friend of mine, I think I maybe have talked about before, Randy Davidson died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's a terrific lawyer. We went to grade school through high school together, and then he was the first guy I ever knew that went to Harvard. He went on a scholarship in 1969 to Harvard, and he was an all-state football player in Louisiana, played left tackle for Joe Ferguson, which was a pretty important job he had to protect Joe's back. And he died from a heart ailment, and it's very sad. And then this past Friday, I had to go to a funeral for someone who was quite close to their family, Leslie Owen Hayes, who is Jimmy Hayes' wife, former congressman from Lafayette.
Yep.
And Leslie had made quite a name for herself, a wonderful human being, a very devout Christian, had made quite a name for herself in Washington, D.C. in the business that she was in, events planning and events management. And it was, just to put it in perspective, she had been on the cover, a feature story on the cover of Washingtonian magazine twice, which was pretty serious.
That's an achievement.
She was a heavy player in Washington, and
God rest her.
She's gone now. And by the way, Jimmy called me a couple of weeks before she passed and said, I wanted to tell you, said this afternoon, Leslie said to me, says, what time is it, Jimmy? I told her, and she goes, well, you can turn the TV on because in about 30 minutes it's going to be time for Fletch Nation. She watched us every week. It was really quite a compliment. And he wanted me to know that. So,
God rest her and keep her.
Yeah, I extend my sympathies to both of them, to both families.
Well, that's a sad note. So, are we going to talk about the 700-pound elephant in the room named Joe Biden and the...
You mean the State of the Biden Union address?
Yeah.
Apparently,
the state of Joe Biden's imagination address.
Well, it's the state of the Biden Union, apparently, given the nature of the kiss that the saliva that was passed between the Kamala's husband and Miss Jill Biden.
I saw that. What was up there?
With all due respect, that looked warm and intimate, with all due respect.
Look, I have some friends whose spouses I am close, dear friends with. I don't kiss them on the mouth when I run into them.
No, in front of the whole damn world.
Did you not know that there's like a zillion cameras in that room?
Maybe she did, and maybe she didn't care. I don't know. With all due respect, I don't know how you can go to a State of the Union and not know that.
Something a little weird going on there.
Well, we'll find out. But we had Joe speaking in the State of the Union. I don't know where to start with this thing, but I'll start at the complaints by the Democrats about Ms. Green and some other Republicans mouthing off during the speech. With all due respect, these people have never watched the British Parliament on C-SPAN. I mean, the British Parliament will say whatever they will holler, they'll do it, hoot, anything in the world. They don't care. They don't care. And they get to question that leader on the other side, the majority leader, the person that's running the country, prime minister. They get to question that person and ask questions, and usually the questions are very ugly and very pointed. So So
But this is during debate. This is not during an address where
No, it's
someone
not.
has the floor.
It's not, but we don't have, England doesn't have a whole lot of addresses, okay?
True. They don't have anything like the State of the Union address.
No, you don't sit there and pay homage to the king leader. You, unless it is the queen, you keep you go ahead and rough it up. And I mean, to me, that's what a democracy is. But on the other hand, the precedent for all of that had been set, not by the Republicans, but by the Democrats.
Well, I seem to remember a House Speaker tearing up a
Tearing
president.
up in the most disrespectful way.
Very serious,
and then
making sure the camera saw every bit of it. It wasn't like she was trying to be subtle.
And then they all wore white. And the Democrats did, and they hooted Trump the whole speech. Look, turnabout's fair play on that.
What was the first time you recall outbursts during this? Was it when Joe Wilson?
Joe Wilson, I couldn't remember his name, from
Was he
South
his-
Carolina,
yeah, South
when
Carolina.
he told Obama, I think.
You lie!
You lie, yeah.
And I think it was a similar topic when Obama was saying that the Republicans wanted to take this and take that, and he basically said, "You're not lying. You're not telling the truth."
The second thing.
You lie.
You lie. The second thing about the speech was, I'm not sure what the chemical mixture was there, but Joe just kind of hollered a few times in almost, I don't know what he was screaming about. You show me the one just show me the one. There's something
He wasn't
about
letting America in on the conversation.
Xi Jinping or something. I don't know what it was about. It was.
Well, he knows a lot of people are suspecting him and his son of a lot of stuff right now.
Well,
I think he's starting to get a little.
You're a little
He's
neurotic.
starting to get a little bristly about it.
Yeah, a little bristly. And then he had the part of the speech where he said, if they veto the gibberish, and to this day, I cannot figure out what he's saying in it, and I'll veto it if you send me whatever he was talking about. I have no idea.
Probably something that would help.
I don't know what it was. It just. I could not
If it'll
understand.
help, he's dead set against it.
And everything I've read, nobody else could understand it either.
No.
And so there was a lot of that.
That was typical classic Joe Biden, in my opinion. It was just a meandering, mumbling mess.
It was all that. But when he did say something, more than likely on the fibometer, it registered a 10 as a fib. Mm-hmm. I mean, for example, real wages are going up. They hadn't gone up in 20 months compared to inflation. That's what he was making the point about.
He said wages were outpacing inflation.
It's not true.
Which is not true. It may be true for some sectors.
But it's not true as a whole for this economy at all. He talked about the middle class. This year, we will have a almost $1 trillion trade deficit. The country will. Mm-hmm. It has gone up $700 billion in a year. Mm-hmm. That's our trade deficit. I can tell you something. What hollers out the middle class in America more than trade deficits, I don't know. But back a long time ago, in 86, 87, 88, the Democrats, even in earlier, the Democrats were fanatical on balance of trade stuff. And they were always, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about that at some length because it's important to see how the parties switch sides.
What changed on trade? We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we will.
Fletch Nation, 3 minutes, right back.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
You could be driving a...
Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Got spiders? Premier Pest Services.
And we're back with Fletch Nation. By the way, we are recording this on the 8th of February, a Wednesday, at the Old School Barbecue Smokehouse on Coursey Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Right before the break, we were talking about the fact that the trade deficit has gone up by, what'd you say, $700 billion?
This year.
In just the last year. And as we were running out of time in the segment, Roy mentioned that the Democrats used to be really focused on trade equity. The United States would be in a good position with trade.
Yeah, I mean, the fight was between Japan and the United States, even China to some extent back in those days. And I mean, Richard Gephardt was very much of a leader in that fight. He was Speaker of the Majority Leader of the House. He was very deeply involved in that, ran for president on that issue, I believe in 88 or 84. And so the Democrats, that's where they were. What happened was Bill Clinton came along, and we got Clinton was a globalist. And of course, the treaty that he did in North American
NAFTA, that huge sucking sound south of the border.
Yeah, exactly. And if you remember, Ross Perot ran a whole campaign on that in 1992 as an independent. And so money, all of a sudden that all started. And the trade with China started, and Clinton was deeply involved in all of that and the manipulations of all that.
And the outsourcing of jobs.
Yes, well, that had already happened. And then the wall came down in Russia, and sort of we started reaching out there, and money, international money, started to, and people making money off the international economic system started to permeate what? Our political system. And the Democrats became the party of multinationals instead of the party of American companies. The Republicans became the Party of America companies and opposed to globalism. And that's how the party switched on that issue. Money made the difference. That's my point.
Makes the world go round, my friend.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to know the story, follow the money. And that's the story. And now we have Biden talking about he's going to help the middle class. You cannot, as Trump had made the point and did, you cannot help the middle class if you don't get the trade deficit and the trade agreements and so on and so forth under control. It will not work because you have to bring those jobs home, those manufacturing and production jobs back to America. And so that
you've also got to get a hold of what it costs the middle class to do what they do.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And so there was that resurgence under Trump. It started back, and now we're floundering all over the place. Then, I mean, Biden talked about the sovereignty. He said that he would react if China threatened our sovereignty, which brings us to another subject completely, and that is, how more can you threaten a nation's sovereignty than flying a balloon over it that apparently had explosives in it? That's what the head of NORAD says. It has explosives in it, and probably was a spy balloon in some way, shape, or form, and I don't understand why they needed the balloon to do it, because they have satellites that can do all kind of things too. But apparently they needed the balloon because it didn't happen just by coincidence. And so you have been threatened. Your sovereignty has been threatened. And what did you do about it? You waited until the balloon cleared the entire United States.
Completed its mission.
What base did it fly over, Kevin, in Montana when it was finally first seen?
It was sighted first seen over Billings, Montana, which is the home of Malmstrom Air Force Base, the headquarters of the Global Strike Command.
The bomb.
That is our nuclear arsenal, my friends.
ICBMs, bombs, all of that. Okay? And so
nothing to see here.
And by the way, do you think we would have known about it if some guy hadn't have been looking out of his office window and saw it and started taking pictures of it, and the Billings newspaper reported?
Well, you realize how it actually started? It started with a UFO sighting.
Is that what it was?
The guy thought he saw a UFO. And then he got other people to pay attention to it, and then somebody actually, got a nice powerful lens and took a picture of it. Said that's a balloon. It's got, and it had like a whole payload harness hanging from it.
It had a whole payload harness.
It had solar panels to power, because it had a guidance system. It had
absolutely it had a guidance system.
It wasn't
had
just
propellers
drifting.
on it.
Yeah, it wasn't just drifting over there. It had like a solar powered drone attached to the bottom of it.
No. The answer to that is, we've only heard 6 different answers to the whole thing. One is that, we couldn't shoot it down because it might, hit somebody. Yeah, like in Montana.
We don't want Montana is such a danger of shrapnel coming down.
By the
on
way,
people.
why would it knock down in Alaska?
That's a good question.
Is that not part of it?
How did NORAD not pick it up immediately?
They knew it was there. They knew it was. They'd already told Biden it was there. They kept waiting, and then the other story is, I told them to shoot it down on Wednesday. Well, no, you didn't tell them to do that. No, and if you did, then the fact that General Miley wouldn't do it means he's a traitor.
That guy.
By the way, that's the same guy that called China and said, "Hey, don't do it. Look here. We just want to make it clear that Trump's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
don't
if Trump
do nothing.
tells us to attack, we're not gonna.
We're not going to do that. So don't worry about us."
To me, treason against the
commander-in-chief.
commander-in-chief.
I mean, that's twice he's pulled this kind of stunt. And then and now it's they couldn't send anything back to China. They wasn't sending it back in real time as they were getting.
Why
it back.
would we want to send anything back to them?
No. I'm talking about the
data,
balloon.
The data.
What are you talking about? Of course they were sending it back. Did you think they sent it over here and didn't have it going back immediately?
No,
I mean,
that thing.
that's the craziest thing
That
I've
thing
ever
was
heard.
probably transmitting its data back home via satellite
In real time.
in real time.
No question
And
about
by the way, we waited until it was over deep enough water where whatever payload was attached to that balloon was going to drop into the ocean and never be recovered.
Well, it looks like they've gotten some of it, but it looks like the balloon, not the.
Here's my thing about the debris argument, Roy. We got Sidewinder missiles you could strap to the wing of an F-18 or an F-22 Raptor.
And we
that
gotta
would
take a break.
Vaporize that balloon.
We got to
Vaporize
take a break.
it. More to come. Stay there.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Coming to you from the Old School Barbecue Smokehouse in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it is Fletch Nation. Coming up later in the program, another one of our interview segments with coastal attorney John Carmouche. I was on a roll there about that damn balloon. Ran us out of time at the last segment.
I mean, you know, we could go on for that for a whole show. But
it's just another clown in the clown car that is the Biden administration.
Let's continue pulling out Bozo the clowns, okay? I mean, we got the bozo that we're going to crack down on these billionaires on taxes. We're going after the waitresses and waiters and their tips. What is this? What are we are in, and we're going to do away with these taxes on resorts. You know, with your room charges at resorts, we're going to kind of mitigate that. What in the God's name is he even talking about this for?
You mentioned tips.
Yeah,
I just saw this. The Internal Revenue Service proposed a revenue procedure this week cracking down on service industries' reporting of tips. Those 87,000 new IRS agents that you were promised would only target the rich, says Mike Palich, the Federal Affairs Manager for America for Tax Reform. They're coming after waitresses' tips now.
That's billionaires, right?
Oh, yeah, those are billionaires.
Yeah, I thought so.
Remember they said 87,000 was going to go after...
The rich people.
How many
the
rich people are
billionaires.
there? 16,000?
Whatever there is. I mean, it takes 87,000 to do it. I mean, clearly. But why have they decided to single out, I mean, literally people who literally work just literally off of their own talents, one-on-one in their ability to do things, particularly food, beverages, all of that kind of stuff.
A waiter or a waitress doesn't make a living wage.
No, they don't.
The minimum wage laws in this country enable the business owner to pay them as little as, what is it now, $2.35 an hour in Louisiana?
I don't know what it is.
They get paid crap.
Yeah.
So if they don't make tips, they don't make money.
And let's say that, I mean, let's say those folks are making, they work at a really nice restaurant and they're making $200 a night. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't know why you tax them. I'll be just frank with you. I don't even know why they're paying taxes on the tip.
They shouldn't have to pay taxes. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have to pay taxes on your tips.
No,
you, really
should. I mean, that's that's income. I know.
I have radical ideas. I think after you turn 65 years of age, you shouldn't have to pay income taxes.
Well, since you've talked about that, I don't think you ought to pay property tax.
I agree.
Because
as someone approaching 65, I couldn't agree with you more.
You pay your house off after 30 years if you got a normal.
But you continue to pay for it. For the
well,
rest of
not
your
only
life.
that, if you don't pay for it, they can come and take it after you've paid it off.
Yep. You paid your $200,000, $300,000 to the bank or whoever.
Well, you paid.
You're behind on your taxes, so your city parish gets to take your house.
You borrowed $300,000. You probably paid $500,000 in the total amount because you've been paying interest. And then when you get it paid off, they come and take your house.
Yep.
If you don't pay the taxes, and in most cases, and a lot of people, they get to the point where that's all they have is that house that they paid for.
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't have that. You got to pay taxes on that house.
No, I think.
And that's not. I'm not down in Louisiana.
Even
I'm
be
just
reasonable.
saying that's the way it is.
Let's make it 70. After you hit 70, you shouldn't have to pay property taxes.
No.
It's just my feeling.
Not on your home. I mean, if you own 800,000 acres, like China does,
or 45 rental properties,
no,
or something
45
like that. That's a business. That's a business.
Yeah, that's a business. I can
but
see that.
We're talking about your home still.
Your home. You ought to be free from that in your home.
And we do it already. We have protected classes that we give them a complete property tax exemption.
Yeah, we do. So I don't know why we can't by age, except the government needs money in order to provide services for people that whatever. Now, the other thing last night that he spoke of was he made a very strong prediction that oil and gas we won't need in 10 years.
10 years.
Now, he said we'll need it for another 10 years. That's the way he said it. What's he smoking? I mean, do you think that we're not going to have any more plastic after 10 years?
No.
We're not going to do that, right?
No plastic, no artificial fabrics.
Nothing. We're going to have nothing. We're not going to need
no
all
computers, no kayaks.
Nothing.
No car interiors.
Nothing. Just nothing. We won't need any of that because it'll all be electrified or whatever, hydrogenized or whatever they're going to use to replace all again. I got news for the president. He needs to kind of rethink that because it's not going to happen. In fact, I would like to see in this state and this country a whole lot more refineries being built because while they drill for oil and they produce the oil out of the ground, the processing oil, the expansion of that infrastructure is not happening. It needs to happen more, okay? Not less.
Well, we spent time shutting down refineries in the last 20 years, and now we need to ramp them back up, and it's not cost effective.
No, we just can't do that. So I don't know. I mean, it was a weird speech, a strange speech, and the final thing is that he went into the speech to tell us the economy's good. Let me give you some data. 70% of the country thinks that the country's going in the wrong direction. 41% of those people who make over 6 figures a year, 41% of them, in other words, if you make 100,000 a month, 41% of those saying they are being affected by the inflation and stuff and the economic policies of the Biden administration. In other words, they're struggling to be middle class. Even at a 6-figure, and there's so many people that don't make 6 figures. I mean, but
how much money your retirement accounts lost in the last year?
And so, I mean, the jobs, we get this jobs report of 500,000 last month, and all we see are reports of major companies, particularly tech, and others, Amazon, a number of them, laying off not 1,000 people, but tens of thousands of people. Something is amiss here, and I can't quite put my finger on it, Kevin, but it sure feels like to me, we're getting gaslighted.
Thank you. That was just the word that came to my mind. It is like this massive gaslighting of the entire country.
For those who don't know about gaslighting came from a play that was done in the 30s on Broadway. And this guy wanted to convince his wife she was going crazy, so her husband. And so what he would do is he would turn down the gasoline, the
gas lights.
The gas lights little by little, and finally one day she thought she was blind.
Yeah, well, and she'd say, it's dark in here, and he'd say, no, it's not. You're imagining things.
No.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslight. We'll be right back with some more gaslight. We don't gaslight.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Caught spiders? Pest Services.
Back with Fletch Nation, and Roy, one of the interesting things in this morning after the State of the Union address is, I've got a lot of friends that are of the liberal, progressive Democrat stripe in my social media circle, and not a lot of them were making posts about what a wonderful, impressive job their leader of the free world did last night. I'm not seeing a lot of Democrat pride this morning on social media.
There's a reason for that, Kevin.
I don't think they have anything to be proud of.
Now, there is something to be proud of, however, after last night, and you and I both agree on that, and was the governor of Arkansas's rebuttal.
Yep.
Miss Huckabee.
Yep, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, get her married name correct.
Yes.
Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders gave the Republican response last night, and I thought she was brilliant.
She was terrific. It was one of the few times I've ever listened to the response ever, either Democrat or Republican. She was just brilliant last night, as you say. But I must tell you, Kevin, that the story that she told, and people say, well, she kind of had to work it in there. Well, she did. But the story that she told about enjoying Christmas with her family and getting a phone call and said, get over to Andrews Air Force Base now, and don't bring your phone, and don't tell anybody where you're going. And she didn't know where she was going. She goes to Andrews Air Force Base late at night. The plane, Air Force One, is dark, no lights on. They leave on a runway with no lights on the runway. They fly 12 hours to western Iraq, gets off the plane, and no lights, and suddenly they drive up on a building where there's a bunch of lights and a bunch of people at. They go in, there's a big meeting of all the troops, listening to their commanders from around the region and the country, talk to them. And she walks in with the President of the United States and Melania Trump, the First Lady. And she said that the power of USA, USA, those guys chanting and people chanting that, not just guys, but all troops chanting, just overwhelmed her. It was such a magnificent story of leadership. And if you remember that time, Kevin, I remember that situation very, very well. Trump was criticized for sneaking over there where nobody would know where he was going, that he was being reckless. And nobody appreciated it more than those troops in that room. You know, I mean, and this when they were fighting ISIS.
He wasn't being reckless. They did it under cover of darkness. I mean, if you would have been on aerial surveillance trying to see anything going on that strip, the plane was dark, the strip was dark.
Yeah, I mean, they did it the right way. But the fact of the matter is that she was making the point that that's what presidential leadership is.
That's what leaders do.
And she was there. She was the press secretary for President Trump, and she wanted to note that in that speech, and it was really, really well, tastefully done, very well. She's a good storyteller. Mm-hmm. That's because she's from the South.
But she's creating buzz already. People are, at least I'll just name him by name. Scott McKay. One of the comments he made last night on social media was, she could be the first woman president of the United States.
She easily could be. She easily could be. And don't say you can't be coming from Arkansas.
There's been a precedent set there.
There's been a precedent set there.
For the president.
Yes, there has been a precedent set there. And
a governor of Arkansas elected twice.
No. And by the way, she went back to Arkansas and announced this morning a whole education reform package for the state of Arkansas that is directed toward job creation and skill creation and crafts creation and that sort of thing. So she's a real up and comer, and she's going. Also, she has a story. She's a cancer survivor too.
Yep. Roy and I were talking during the break. It's just we're commenting on how she turned the Trump administration around a lot, because the press secretary in that briefing room is the public's
it was
first
ugly
interface with the president, and Sean Spicer was not so great first out.
Well, yeah, and by the way, you have to remember, and we now know, that the Trump administration in those early days was under enormous pressure because they were getting hacked in every way you could possibly get hacked.
Spied on.
Spied on.
Wiretap. Russians,
all of it fabricated malarkey, but they were under that pressure and they had the press pounding them. And if you remember, this Attorney General was, he quit it. And then she came along and gave a tremendous amount of stability to the message, discipline to the message, and stability to the press operation.
And she also showed the American people that the White House was not going to take any guff.
That's exactly what she
from
said.
An agendized media.
No, she did do that quite well, and she was built upon by, what's her name, McEnany?
Kayleigh McEnany was
succeeded.
who was wonderful job.
Who was the best I've ever seen, bar none. Maybe somewhere up in there with Pierre Salinger, they might be together, but that's pretty strong.
But she's no Jen Psaki.
No, she's no Jen Psaki. I'm sorry. Or what?
Corinne Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't know it unless you can read it out of a binder.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's. So that's what we. That's my thoughts from last night.
I wanted to hit you with one state thing before we went to break here. We got just about 2 minutes, but any impressions of the special legislative session and the $45 million insurance fix? The Insure Louisiana Incentive Fund?
I think it's quite interesting, and it comes under the category of the dog that didn't bark. Nobody really paid much attention to it, and nobody was really upset about what they did. I mean, normally you would think they're giving $45 million away to insurance companies. Maybe there's a little problem here, but I think people recognized that we live in a state that has been buffeted by natural disasters, and something had to be done. And frankly, nobody else had any other option to deal with it.
Well, Louisiana Citizens is the state-run last resort insurer. Probably a lot of you watching are covered by Citizens right now because you don't have any choice at the time. Citizens by state law has to be at least 10% higher than the private market.
Right.
And in January 1st, Citizens enacted, they were granted this by the Insurance Commission. They were 63% rate hike. 63% rate hike.
Well, I mean, look, we can expect rate hikes as long as we just getting pounded. I mean, because what insurance companies are insuring is risk. And we got a lot of risk down in coastal Louisiana and on up here. And we're going to see it more and more and more, I'm afraid. And it's very sad, which makes the argument that these people like Carmouche and these people that want to rebuild that coast and have people rebuild the coast that harm the coast, that program needs to get going.
Yep.
Big All's got to stop fighting this, settle this thing, and let's get on with the program here. We got to build stuff.
Yep. Well, we're going to take another break, take care of some business. When we come back, another one of our segments with Coastal Attorney, speaking of which, John Carmouche, next on Fletch Nation.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Fletch Nation, we sure do appreciate you being with us. It was an exciting, rollicking, boring, sleepy, crazed, rambling State of the Union speech. And no doubt there'll be more fallout. We'll talk about it. But right now, as we like to do once a week on Fletch Nation, we're going to spend a little more time with Roy Fletcher and his conversations with Coastal Attorney John Carmouche right now.
We're with John Carmouche here talking about all things Louisiana, frankly. And John is a noted coastal and land and environmental lawyer in our state that's had a tremendous impact on the state of Louisiana and the fight for our coast. John, we were talking in the last segment about dramatic change for Louisiana, and you said one of the things that we need is how we deal with business. In terms of what do you think are the kinds of things that we need to be looking at? It relates to bringing business into Louisiana. Hell, they're leaving California. They're going to Florida and they're going to Texas. How about a little something in between here, you know, for the folks, you know? But that's, what do you think?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about, dramatic change. And it all comes together as one, right? If you can't just change the business environment, you can't just change education, you can't just change crime, you have to have it all.
Right.
And to be honest, why shouldn't we? You know, we live in a great state, we have a great environment for businesses. All we have to do is have enough guts to make the dramatic change. And the first thing businesses look at is all of these CEOs they're getting around the country, is the first thing to ask is, what's the education like? All of these people have kids and have families. The next thing is, what's the crime like? So
that's not good.
Even though the business, you might give tax deductions to businesses that done in the past, if we don't change the core of what why these families want to move here, they're not going to come. They're not going to come. So you got to change it all. You got to change your education. You got to change. Why is there so much crime here? I mean, come on. This is something that has to be changed, and it can be changed.
Well, one of the things that people may not know about you is that your father was a district attorney for, I think, 6 years down in the 23rd Judicial District. Is that right? Yeah, okay. That's Assumption and St. James parishes, yeah. Don Carmouche. And we have witnessed an extraordinary explosion in violent crime in Louisiana. I mean, what do you think has created this situation, and what do you think we can actually do about something that's so pervasive in our bigger cities in Louisiana?
Well, first, education. Number two is we have to be harder on crime. For some reason, I think we've gotten the concept wrong of we just let people out on bail for smaller amounts. We ignore major crimes in Louisiana. We need people to know here, if you commit a crime, you're going to be punished. And I think we've gotten away from that concept and actually educating kids in these schools. And to be more frank, in the jails and in the prisons. Some of these kids go to jails and prisons and they're there for a year and they're sitting around doing nothing. They work. Why can't we educate them? Not only education school-wise, math, like you talked about, reading.
But culturally.
Culturally, and to understand that when you do these things, you give up the rest of your life and you give up your freedom. There's things that we can do in these prisons and in these jails. I was on the board of the Donaldsonville Marine Institute. It was a program where instead of sending these kids to jail when they were minors, they had an opportunity to go to this program and go to school from 7:30 to 7 at night. And a Marine Institute started in Florida, and it was in other states.
It's like the U.S. Marine Institute.
Well, I mean, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, military.
It was a military school.
Yeah.
Not military in nature, but they educated them.
Yeah.
And they understood that there's an alternative here. And the alternative is actually living in a way that you can be proud of yourself and be proud of your family and have a family. And a lot of these kids don't realize that that's available to them.
Yeah, and I guess the other part of it is that you have an entire economy that there has to be opportunity.
There has to be opportunity, and we've lost big businesses, and I'm not going to mention names, because they couldn't hire the quality of people because they didn't want to come here because of education.
Yeah.
And you know, in schools and places to raise their families.
Yeah. Now, how do you see the whole thing for Louisiana going forward? And not only just the coast, which is what your primary concern is with, but it's sort of the whole thing. What happens if we do the coast? What do we look forward to? What can we look forward to?
Well, first, we need a leader, and we need politicians to quit being politicians and be businessmen and work together. Too many smart people in Louisiana, and actually wake up and fight for what we live for, which is family and culture, right? So we need someone to wake up every morning to fight and go out and seek the best. We deserve the best. And we want the best businesses, we want the best education. We wake up every morning, I see this leadership, and we wake up to mediocrity. And that's been satisfactory for this state. But I think that has to change. It has to start at the top. And the top, if we don't have a leader, you don't have a leader in schools, you don't have a leader in politics, you don't have a leader in businesses. It's all the same. People don't realize it. It all starts at the top and it trickles down, and we need to be fighters. We need to win. And to win, we have to want it. And I think this state now sees we can have it, other states have it, and we can win.
You know, there was a politician that used to have a slogan called "Why Not the Best?" I forget who it was, but we're needless to say. John, I appreciate you being with us, talking with us, and we'll see you around some more. Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
So as we wrap up the show, we have 4 minutes left in the program. I
forgot what we were going to talk about, Kevin.
You forgot?
Yeah, I did. You didn't remember.
Right. Well, you know, what am I going to do?
Huh?
What am I going to do? Man?
Oh,
I got
a couple of things. The national poll. 16% of the country said they're better off financially under Biden.
16%.
Yeah, the rest of them say they no change or worse. There's a bunch of them that are worse. Remember we talked about Meta Bayada? That's the company that Zelensky burned all the papers and it was,
Yes.
and Hunter Biden was all in it. Well, Newsweek ran a story on it, and they went to the guy who first talked about this, and they tried to fact check to see if it had happened. And because they claimed that that decree to burn everything was false because it looked like it was translated from Russian. But they never could get Zelensky to deny that it was, or to confirm that it was false or deny that he had done it. In other words, it happened. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Okay.
Nobody's issuing a fierce, strong denial.
No, it happened.
It happened.
Okay, it happened. And now we notice the other thing about the Hunter Biden is suddenly he's getting real aggressive in talking about how he wants to sue everybody for taking his computer. And he wants to sue him for defamation and stealing it and all that. And in other words,
the best defense is good offense?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say. But the problem is that by saying that, he made the admission that it was his computer, which he has been denying. Pretty stupid, Hunter. But the other thing is that the pawn shop owner made him sign a contract that after 90 days, if he didn't pick it up,
it's his.
It's his.
Yeah.
It's his.
Well,
So
technically, it's not Hunter Biden's computer.
it's technically not Hunter's anymore.
It's Joe Pawn Shop's.
But Hunter wants to make an aggressive effort to say that it is his because for that very reason, a good defense is a outrageous offense, and that's where we are with the Hunter Biden. The last thing we talk about is not much is happening on the governor's front in Louisiana.
Well, we got a couple more people in, but nothing.
Mr. Nelson.
Richard Nelson is a state representative from Mandeville. He's a clever young man.
That's a clever guy.
I think if elected,
he'll be interested.
If elected, we like to put that in there. He would be the youngest man ever elected governor of Louisiana.
Yeah, 36, I believe.
37 years of age.
37. Okay.
Just had a birthday, I think.
Okay.
A guy named Danny Cole.
Don't know him.
He's a school teacher and a minister from the Alexandria area.
Sounds strong.
Actually, I think he lives in the town of Trout.
Sounds strong. Trout?
Trout.
Not Mudcat?
Nope.
So, I want to end the show.
But he's officially the first Democrat to declare.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, well, it sounds like a really strong one.
Sounds like the Democrats got it sealed.
Yeah. So to end the show, I want to say happy birthday to my son, Daniel Fletcher. He's 28 today. And 6 years ago, after a long period, I didn't think I would have him today on the face of this planet.
I remember you were going through a rough time.
And but he got himself together, and he's been free of all that, and he's in Phoenix now, working.
Happy birthday, Daniel. Next week, Fletch Nation. Till then, bye.
You've been listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, or planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.